For the past 2 weeks on AM Prime, we've been having conversations surrounding men and their mental health, society's view of men, and how we could change the stigma around men, understanding that they can seek help, that it's okay to seek help despite the backlash, despite the negative connotations that come with it. We have on Zoom joining us this morning the team from Ministry of Sports and Community Development to talk about MPower, a program that's geared towards educating, informing, elevating, and embracing men. On the line with us is Shameka Ramlal, who is the project lead of MPowerTT at Ministry of Sports and Community Development. Shameka, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Dominique, and thank you for having me.
Nice. It's good to see you.
Same here.
All right. So tell us about the origin of this initiative. Where did MPowerTT come from?
So MPowerTT, firstly, Male Empowerment Program by the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, is really the brainchild of the Honorable Shameka Ramlal, Minister of Sport and Community Development.
Okay.
And she would recall that back in 2008, 2009, thereabouts, when she would have just returned from the US to Trinidad and Tobago, she came back with this idea that she wanted to conceptualize a male empowerment program, or a program that focuses on male development of young men. And this would have been before she even came into government, a Black Diamond project. And in the year 2019, whilst during her tenure as Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, she had the opportunity to, give birth to this project,
Okay.
Empower. So MPowerTT would have initially started in 2019 while she was there, and they would have gone through the first component of the program, the M zones, the male-friendly zones, and then COVID came and it had to be halted. And when she came over to Ministry of Sport and Community Development, the Prime Minister would have permitted her to relaunch this project. So MPowerTT relaunched last year, August 2022, and here we are.
Nice. That sounds really good. Tell us about the M zones, those male-friendly zones.
So the M zones, those male-friendly zones, are really spaces that are curated for launch talks, where we bring together young men between the ages of 16 and 40 years old across Trinidad and Tobago, where we go into community centers, on blocks, and we create this, even bars, because we've been to Bar Code in Tobago as well. Spaces that men gather where real talk could really happen. We've really engaged the over 150 masters and brand ambassadors to really connect with these young men and share their stories, where these young men can also come and open up and share their experiences. So we've covered topics like I Am Man and crime and gang violence. We've covered how can women support? Because so many times we focus on the development of women and creating women of worth. And I remember the Honorable Shameka Ramlal, she would always say, growing up, she was involved in Girl Guides and Brownies, and there were so many programs or avenues for young women to really develop themselves and grow. And very few times you would hear about a male program of this type. So that is where the M zones would have really come from.
Right. Right. I love the fact that you are actually going into the spaces where the men are. So you're not taking them off of where they are from, dusting them off and carrying them into this, space that may not be where they feel freely to open up. Talk to us about the participation of the men and how receptive they've been to the mentors that are now on this program.
Well, Dominique, if I may add, this program is really geared towards the young men of East Port of Spain specifically. So if you recall, back in, I believe, July 2020, the Prime Minister would have established a committee that really focused on the development of the people of East Port of Spain and even other communities that had or faces similar issues. Coming out of that would have been the community recovery reports. MPowerTT falls under the remit of this program or this arm of government. So the men, a part of the MPowerTT program, would have really come from these areas like Carenage and Belmont, Nevada, Trumakak. We had young men coming from Lower and Upper Laventille, the Harp, Shafford Court. So these young men are young men that to society at times would, have this stigma.
Yeah.
So we wanted to focus on the development of them, and the outpouring of love and support has been tremendous. Tremendous, coming both from our stakeholders, the masters and brand ambassadors that came on board, and even the trainees, the participants. So we had young men that were exposed to dining etiquettes and how to treat people, shared grace, resume, dressing for success, effective communication, and so much more. So the support and the reception, I should say, even from these young men coming from these communities would have really been, we had young men who would say, we would go to a session and they would say, we never knew that people cared about us so much. And I think that is really made a good success coming out of the MPowerTT program.
Yeah, definitely. So beyond the program, so they come to the program, I think it's a 6-week program you would have mentioned. There was the graduation that happened recently. Talk to us about the graduation and then moving forward. Are these men able to now feel motivated to, go out into the world of work, practice what they would have learned, that sort of thing?
So the program was not a 6 weeks program entirely. Okay. So there were 4 components. The first component being the M zones, the male-friendly zones or launch talks. And then the second component would have been the life skills development training component. And this is where, so the M zones would have been open to everyone, everyone, all male, because the woman would have to leave the room so that the men could carry on their conversations. Yes. So the life skills development components would have really allowed these men 18 to 40 years old to commit during the daytime 9 to 3 daily for a period of 6 weeks. And that's where they would have covered these different life skills training. So we brought on a company, Backham, Mr. Selvin Lewis and his team, where they would have really trained these guys in these areas. And then we moved on to the third component being the life coaching and career guidance component. We brought on a life coach and a psychologist where they were really able to uproot some of these young men issues that can't be spoken about or have not been spoken about, and really prepare them and, guide them in that way. Because we had young men coming on board where they never knew what they want to be or what they want to do. And out of this program now, they have a clearer idea and understanding of, what's next. And the last component would have been the apprenticeship and mentorship component, where we then were able to assign and deploy these young men into agencies, ministries, institutions, where they further develop skill sets that they had interest in, or even begin to enter the world of work at different ministries where they had career paths that they were interested in. So we had places like MIC took on young men, or welding, and plumbing. We had young men who wanted to do culinary arts, TTT, film TT, Ministry of Agriculture, planning, and so many more. So like you would have mentioned, last Saturday we had the graduation program where over 200 young men would have stayed the course with us during this period and would have graduated and completed the program. And today, we are proud, we are happy to say that more than 17 companies and agencies would have kept on some of these young men coming in, because one of the requirements for the program, or the only requirements I should say, have been that you needed to be unemployed, because the program was run during the day.
Right.
And these young men are now, a lot of them are now permanently employed, whereas they would not have been before. And for those who aren't permanently employed, we have a lot of young men now engaged and enrolled in other programs where they can further develop these skills that they have developed and are interested in.
Wow. What are some of because I know the team, must be excited about the work that you're doing and seeing, the success of the program. What are some of the, far-reaching benefits that you're seeing now into these communities? Because now you have the man, which is, sort of like the head of the household, going to be employed, reinstated, feeling confident, have these new skills, and now they're able to pass it on. So talk to us a bit about that and that long-term goal that the team has for this program.
Dominic, if we look at the household or we look at society on a whole, the or the male folk being, these leaders, the breadwinners. And then we look at community gang violence that sometimes tend to be so prevalent in these communities. I believe that if as a ministry, if as a community, we focus on the development of the male folk, we develop the young men, the boys and our young men rather, then by extension, we would see the far-reaching benefits of this, where we would get these guys off of the streets. And may I interject here and even say that it may not happen overnight. It will not happen overnight. So this program has taken place now and is presently ongoing. But I believe, like one of our masters would always say, it takes a lifetime to make a life or to reach a life. So even the guys that would have dropped off of the program during the course of the 4 components, we are happy that they would have come into contact with this program. They would know that, there are other males, there are other male role models within society that we can now turn to, mentors, masters that are just a phone call away, and even those that are still on board and would have stayed the course and completed. So we believe as a ministry that we may not see, all of the impact or all of the results overnight or, next week, next year, but we do anticipate and we do believe that the impact or the deposit that we would have made through this program, and more so the masters and brand ambassadors that volunteered and came on board, it's going to stay with them, these participants.
Nice, nice. If persons want to get more information on the program, when the next cohort would start, when enrollment would be, where can they find you on social media, or contact number, email address, or website?
So they can find us on, first of all, on the All Ministry of Sport and Community Development social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. They can also find us on MPowerTT. Presently, the program MPowerTT falls under the remit of the Community Development Division, so they can also contact us there, or they can reach us at 303-4663.
All right. Thank you, Shameka Ramlal. We appreciate you for joining us to talk to us more about this MPowerTT. Persons who are viewing the interview, go on social media, check it out, check out what they have done. And if you know a male in the area, in these areas, a male that you want to get involved, find out more about when they're enrolling. We take a short break. When we come back, we have lots more in store.